That brings us into comic books. We have DiDio is gracing DC with his presence once again. Nah, kinda. We have a new Lobo book has been announced, as well as the death of Plastic Man. So yeah, let's go talk about these things, shall we? Hello, nerds, and welcome to this week's episode of The News as it pertains to comic books and books. No discussion of current storylines, story arcs, or any of those kind of details is going to happen here per se. I am, after all, a one-man organization and can't read every book that comes out and report on it and any of the news therein. But we can talk about new announcements and major changes as they pertain to any of the publishers that we follow, or just generally nerdy literary information in that sense. So let's get into all of that, shall we? And also, if you dig what's going on here, there is a much more up-to-date and possibly relevant, because it takes a second to get these sections posted up, so probably much more up-to-date version of the news in long form I like to call The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, which you can find linked in the description as well as at the end of this video. That show covers many more points of interest in the nerd community, in the pop culture community at large, and so definitely go check that out. Now let's get into all of those literary notes, shall we? So, first things first, right here. Sorry, I lost my notes. We have no follow-ups, no corrections, no trailers to talk about. Comic books, man, they come in waves. Either it's a lot of stuff or we go months and months without hearing everything. We go through a drought. But we're kind of coming up on another drought situation, it would seem. The first thing, though, we have DiDio is going to be in a anthology book that is actually an anthology consisting of small stories that were from other arcs that didn't really make it into publication previously, and now they're making it into publication. So they already had the rights. DiDio isn't doing anything new for DC. He is happy doing his thing. I forget where he is these days, but he's not working for DC directly. But he's going to be in this new book. It's called I Know What You Did Last Crisis. It is coming out October 2nd. It is, again, going to feature a number of different stories that have been untold, so unpublished, from their individual arcs. So a lot of the arcs on the DC side of things are crises, and so that kind of explains the title. Yeah, that's what we got there. So let's move on. We have Lobo is our next one. Lobo has a new one-shot book, which is, again, James Gunn very possibly feeding into rumors, because we have a lot of rumors saying that Lobo's getting a movie, or is actually going to be in a movie, is going to be played by Jason Momoa. We've talked about these rumors. Lobo's getting a one-shot book called the Lobo Cancellation Special, which is very appropriate. Book will be on shelves September 25th. Again, very, very convenient considering all of the rumors circulating. And then our final piece of news in gaming, or in comic books and books rather, is Plastic Man. DC has announced that they're going to be killing off Plastic Man, at least it would seem, which I don't know that Plastic Man has a very large following, so does anybody really care? Maybe. I mean, it looks like, if you look at the pages that they've released so far, it looks very intriguing. But I've never read a Plastic Man book, so I can't necessarily be the best judge of that. So let's go through it's going to be called Plastic Man No More. It's written by Christopher Cantwell, illustrated by Alex Linz, set for release September 4th. The story explores the potential death of Plastic Man and his plastic cells begin to decay following an accident. I can read, I promise. Following an accident during a Justice League mission, the series delves into themes of body horror, legacy, personal redemption, and reflecting on Plastic Man's criminal past and his relationships. So again, sounds intriguing. I've just personally never been into Plastic Man, so I don't know. Somebody else who is into Plastic Man, maybe you can leave a comment and let me know why I should read this book. But that's, like I said, the last piece of news for comic books and books. That leaves us only our suggestion for the week. We have a novel suggestion. It is not a comic book this week. Your suggestion this week is Dune, House of Atreides, one of the prequel books. So prequel meaning it's written by Brian Herbert, not Frank Herbert, and Kevin J. Anderson. Kevin J. Anderson, it seems, did most of the heavy lifting from what I am to understand of these prequel books, but this is the first of the prequel books. This gives you the tone for what you can expect for the things that go on in this expanded Dune universe, and also can give you a little bit of an idea, because if I'm remembering this correctly, and I could be drawing from garbage, but if I'm remembering this correctly, Brian and Kevin both are being consulted on the new Dune movies and TV show. So kind of give you an idea of the flavor of the direction they're going to be going with that stuff as well. So kind of very influential, this book. That's why it's your suggestion this week. Go read Dune, House Atreides, and get a little bit more Dune in your life. That brings us to the end of the video, nerds. Thank you very much for joining me for the news. Once again, there is a full and probably much more up-to-date and recent episode of the news, the full-length version, if you will, called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, linked down in the description, and probably link popping up somewhere around my face right about now. So click on that, go check that out as well, or if you prefer your news in more truncated pieces, then by all means just stick around here and go check out some of the other stuff we offer on this channel. Thank you very much for joining me. We will see you in the next one. Before we go, always remember, nerds, that if it is generally nerdy, it's probably here.